G'day guys, it's Alex Moss here from Tactical Arbitrage. How are you? Yesterday was a hell of a day. We had the Amazon Flips webinar not go ahead because of a technical glitch in the matrix. There was a software bug and a dog bit my finger, and I lost my virtual assistant due to some professional differences. So today I am making a video on Amazon Flips. The little software bug that was there yesterday has now gone. My finger is on the mend and I have re-advertised for a new virtual assistant. So onwards and upwards, this is how we get things done and back on track. Now today I want to talk to you about Amazon Flips. Now this is the Amazon to Amazon, so buying from Amazon and then selling back on the FBA platform. So I'm going to pop on into Amazon Flips here and have a look at this page. Now let me first preface this by saying that if you're going to be selling on Amazon from using products that you're buying from Amazon, do not ever ship those products to your house using Amazon Prime. So that's the essential hardline term of service is from Amazon, that if you're going to be basically getting an item from them that you're going to be turning around and shipping back into your FBA store to resell, do not ship that to your house via Prime. And it also applies to do not purchase lightning deals to then turn around and resell. So those are the two main exceptions that I think about. There's a bit of a loophole to still kind of get free fast shipping to yourself without using Prime, and that is to set up a business account. Now if you've got a business account, then if you, I think I need to check, it might be $49 or $45 worth of products in the shopping cart, and then it's something like 2 days free shipping. And that is not using Prime to get the products to you that you then ship back in to your FBA account. So a few of those little terms of service out of the way, let's get into how Tactical Arbitrage manages Amazon Flips, what some of the interface means here, and the thought processes that I go through when deciding to deciding to choose products to sell back in my FBA account. So the Amazon Flips menu is at the very top of the page here, and you go to search Amazon. That'll open up this page here. Now you do not need to use your own Keeper tokens. Now what are Keeper tokens? So the Amazon Flips page runs on an engine called Keeper Tokens, because we're actually communicating with the Keeper.com database, which is a tracking service for Amazon products, and it also integrates with the Tactical Arbitrage engine, and it all collaborates together to generate the products that we're most interested in looking at. However, because one of the components is a Keeper token, we have two levels of this, and you do need to have Keeper tokens to have it working, but you can use the public Keeper tokens. Now we provide Keeper tokens to operate this entire page with no restrictions whatsoever except a couple. So one restriction that you'll have if you do not bring your own Keeper tokens to the party is this use bulk categories page will be absent. Now there is other ways that you can use bulk products to search on this page that do not need the Keeper tokens, but this top one here, which is much like a bulk list on the product search page, it takes URLs. That will require your own Keeper tokens if you want to provide a list of URLs for Tactical Arbitrage to analyze for potential flips. So the other thing that bringing your own Keeper tokens will do is it will allow you to do what's called live searches. So in other words, it'll look at Keeper this very moment, and it will tell you whether or not there is potential flip opportunity that is happening on Amazon right this very second. So that could be useful if, for instance, a price has been $30 for a long time, and then suddenly today only it is $10, and maybe in a couple of hours it's going to go up. If you're doing a live search, then you will see that $10 pricing that it currently is when working. So basically, you'll be able to do an immediate flip. Now, my favorite type of flip is not that type of flip. My favorite type of flip is a tracked flip, where you look at a keeper graph over a period of time and look for trends in those graphs. Then you track the products and you get alerts when certain criteria have been met that you instruct keeper to look for and alert you when those criteria have been satisfied. So if you are new to Amazon Flips, I wouldn't worry about getting your own keeper token and inserting that into the settings page, because you can do most everything using just the straight page without the bulk categories list and using what's called cached scans. Now, if you are not doing, if you do have your keeper tokens, you can do a cache scan of 1 day, 2 days, or live, or 3 days. Now, 3 days is also turned on by default if you are not using keeper tokens. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that if anybody else has got the data in the last 3 days, it'll draw on that data from cache. Now, if nobody's got the data in the last 3 days, you'll end up with a live scan anyway, because we still have to get the data, and we'll use the public tokens for those. Okay, so that being said, I want to show you the kind of graph that we are looking for. There's two kinds of graphs we're looking for, actually. One is the immediate drop, and one is the other type of graph I'll show you now. So I ran a scan yesterday, and the kind of results that I was looking for are items that Amazon is, if you look at this keeper graph here, you can see that wherever it's orange, Amazon is in stock. And whenever it is not in stock, the new seller or the FBA seller is reclaiming the buy box. So the most interesting type of graph I'm looking for is one where Amazon can't stay in stock long enough because it always sells out, and when they are in stock, their price point is significantly lower, in this case $10.63, than the FBA selling price, in this case $20.72. Now, you might think, well, $10.58 or $10.63, sorry, is not that big a gap between $20.72, but I'm just going to check on Amazon, because one of the things about the keeper graph is it doesn't include the shipping price. So an FBA seller may be an MF seller, and there may be shipping price on top. So I'm just going to check what this is currently selling for. Okay, so in this case they both do have free shipping, and now the price is down to $19.56. So the arbitrage opportunity may not be as good for this graph, but these are the kind of interesting graphs that I'm looking for. So this one's pretty cool. Amazon is having trouble staying in stock of the second expansion pack for a game similar to Speak Out called Watch Your Mouth. Now, when they are in stock, I can see that they're $12.99, but you can see here they've gone out of stock, and the price jumped up to $34.99. And they went back in stock momentarily, back down to $12.99 again, out of stock, back in stock, and they haven't really been in stock since. Now, I can see that now keeper graph analysis is fantastic, and you can get a lot out of it because there's so much data here once you've clicked through to the keeper page. We can find these graphs easily enough using tactical arbitrage searches. And then the next part of the treasure hunting puzzle is up to you. to get on into to Keeper and have a look what's going on. What does this graph tell us? Okay, so it's telling us here that after it sold out, and when it did sell out, there was only, it says down here, there was only 6 people selling it. Okay, so when it did sell out, the price increased to as much as $38.89. Okay, this is October 24th, so just about 2 weeks ago from the time of this video. So it stabilized a little bit and the new offer count jumped a bit, and we can see that a few people have gotten on this, and it's now up to about 23 sellers. Now, a couple of things might have caused these extra sellers. Another store such as Target may have also had this product at a low price, and people may have seen that arbitrage opportunity from their searches and purchased it, sent the products in, and now the number of people selling it increased. Or during this time that Amazon was in stock, a certain number of FBA sellers may have purchased some, and by the time they had the item shipped to them and then they shipped it back in, and then Amazon ingested that into their warehouses, that has increased the offer count. But one way or another, at some point the number of people selling this item using FBA methods has spiked, or FBA or MF methods. Now, I can see here that yesterday somebody dropped their price to $12.99. Now, at this point, I want to click through to Amazon and see what's going on, because the offer count's also dropping, and we are in the middle of Q4. So I still think that this would be a great item to track and get again when Amazon is in stock at $12.99. Okay, so let me just continue down. Let me just go to Amazon actually, and let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this $12.99 seller. Okay, what have we got here? Available from these sellers. Amazon does this when the price is significantly more than what they consider their list price. They will often hide the price, and you'll end up having to go into the sellers to have a look better at the item. Okay, so this just launched person. Okay, this guy is calling himself Watch Your Mouth Official. That's fairly confusing to me. I don't know whether or not that's going to be the official seller of Watch Your Mouth. It could be a problem if that is. It's also possibly just a person who's called their store that. They've secured a wholesale deal and they have a significant number of these. We haven't added yet a feature to Tactical Arbitrage to gauge how many products each seller has, although I won't tease that at this point, but there is something in the works for that. But let's just leave that ambiguous for now. What I can do for now is either use an app called How Many to let me know which sellers have a certain number, or I can try adding this item to cart and seeing how many I can add. Let me try adding 999 of these and updating. Alright, this particular seller has 12 of these in stock. Okay, so I'm going to also have a look and see what else this person sells. So they primarily sell Watch Your Mouth products. It throws a little bit of a spanner in the works, because if it is official Watch Your Mouth, then you would imagine that they have an unlimited supply of these. So it's changed things a little bit for me, but they're also just launched, so they don't have any real history or ratings at this point. So even with this great price, a good FBA seller should still rotate into the buy box. They also only have listed with Amazon that they have 12 of these items, and at the rate these are selling, at a rank of 200 at the moment, I'd say that will sell in a day, and this will go back up to this price. Whether or not they're going to continue to replenish that stock is a factor. For now, I would just set a some tracking with Keeper, and keep an eye on that and analyze that a little further. Keep it, especially in Q4, and especially consider that these guys are just launched, and maybe it is Watch Your Mouth, the official company, and maybe they are looking to increase their Amazon presence, but there's a lot to learn with Amazon, and they may have not even realized just how quickly things will sell during Q4. So yeah, actually they're not an FBA seller, they're an MF seller, but they've only listed it as having 12 items. So anyway, that's a factor. I will go back here now, and what we'll do is we'll track that. So I'm going to track this product, and I'm going to say, tell me whenever Amazon is in stock under $13, because Amazon normally sells this for that $13 mark. And I'm going to get it to alert me via email and Twitter, and I'll set it up on my phone to get a Twitter alert every time I get a notification. Now, when setting your Twitter alert in Keeper, you don't put the @ so you just put everything after the @. So I don't have a very active Twitter account at all. I'm more of a Facebook guy, but it is a good way to get those Keeper alerts. So in my case, I've just put Tactical FBA, and I didn't put @Tactical FBA, so that's important. So there's the email over here, and then you hit Start Tracking. Okay, now there's a tracking overview page where your tracked products build up over time, and you can see that Watch Your Mouth has been added to that, and every time this appears on Amazon in stock, and Keeper has detected that, and Keeper checks things pretty fast. I mean, they're checking items all the time, so they'll know when something comes in stock, usually within a short space of time. They will send a notification to both my email and my Twitter account, and then my phone, wherever I am, whether I'm driving or whether I'm sitting downstairs watching television, it's going to say, hey, Alex, Watch Your Mouth, pack number 2 is in stock now with Amazon. Now the first thing I'm going to do is race upstairs and check whether or not it is in stock. I'm going to see how many I can buy, because sometimes these ones that go out of stock fast, Amazon realizes and limits you to just one. That can be frustrating, because if you see a good arbitrage opportunity where there might be $30 profit in it, but then it's only letting you add 1 or 2 to the cart, you've got a decision to make. Is there something else that I have already sitting in the cart that I want to ship to myself as well? It can be useful to have something sitting there, or something in mind. Maybe you've got an Amazon wish list of things, or maybe maybe you've got a couple of alerts that day, and you can combine a couple of items that have just come into stock to make up that $49 shipment to get you that free delivery to your door. So there is a little bit of a balancing act there when it comes to getting those tracked items to you, if Amazon's placed that restriction. And they don't place that restriction on. Sometimes it'll be the reverse. Sometimes you'll check quantities and you'll realize that Amazon has gone back into stock, but they've got 999 of them, and the rank might not be that good. So for instance, this item down here, you can see is only in stock very rarely, for just a second. But you might find that the one time that they're in stock, you've checked that their quantities, and it doesn't say that they've only got 7 in stock, it says that they've got 999 in stock. And that means that they have really stocked up. They've gotten some products from a new wholesaler. This happened to me once with and it's not that common that it would scare a person off. It shouldn't do anyway. But it happened to me once with a Octonauts toy. It was a toy that was going for like $95 to $109, and it was just selling consistently, one every day, pretty much 1 or 2 every day. And I found a bunch of them come into stock at Amazon for $29, but they did only have a limited amount. And I also went over to Yo-Yo, and they'd just got into stock as well. It shouldn't really have been a red flag that multiple stores suddenly got stock of this product, maybe a huge shipment had come over from the UK. I'm pretty sure Octonauts is a UK toy, and I stocked up and I grabbed like 20 of these, thinking here's an easy $2,000, or $1,500 by the time it's all said and done. I shipped them all in, and as it arrived, Amazon was in stock with 999 of them, and they just had this continual orange line appear, like they were just in stock. And it eventually got to the point where I couldn't wait. I was getting charged storage fees from Amazon for these 20 items that had a fair bit of cubic meterage in the way of space it was taking up in the warehouse. So reluctantly, I crash sold them at like 36 cents below Amazon's price, and they all moved in a few days. But that's not been my experience overall. My experience overall has been that patterns normally dictate future patterns. Past patterns normally dictate future patterns. So if you're seeing increased pricing versus the lower price when Amazon is in stock, then you can normally surmise that it's going to repeat. So at least for the very next cycle, you'll see cycles change over time, and there are factors that you can take into account to check whether or not there's extenuating circumstances. Like you may see in that graph that I showed you before that the offer count was increasing. Now that's a factor, because you know that when there's so many people selling at once, that reprices are going to start competing with each other. People are going to have their reprices set up, and then inevitable race to the bottom. Now you can wait those out and the price should go back up again, but when looking at a keeper graph, there is enough data here that when you get sort of savvy at reading these graphs, you should be able to make your best educated guess as to whether or not to go ahead with the purchase or not. Now, that being said, some people don't like playing this game and they prefer to look for the immediate flips. More of a no-brainer where this Amazon's in stock for $50 all the time, and today they have a shoe drop down to $10, and you can see in the past that it's happened twice before. Gone down to $10, gone back up to $50, and then 3 months have passed. It's gone down to $10 today, and you can grab it right now, and this has happened to me for a Keen shoe. This is the brand. It was a toddler's Keen shoe, and it was normally $54 or something, and it dropped down to $11.37 for the day, and I bought every single pair. I shipped them straight back in, and they sold in a week. And I had my chest puffed out. I was walking around the house telling my wife that I'd stumbled onto the latest and greatest way of flipping keeper deals, but I find those deals rarer and more difficult to find, whereas I can find these graphs to track all day long, and you can just set up these tracking alerts, and then you can decide case by case as you get the alerts. There's an entire business you can run purely by just monitoring and tracking these Amazon flips with these kind of graphs. Now, I'll have a look down here. Some of these graphs are old, and this is an example of what can happen. Like some of these were pre-tactical arbitrage. I used to do a lot of these things before I started getting these 16-hour days with tactical arbitrage. So it's interesting to see that this one, for instance, it still kind of fits the bill, but I'd say that there's not enough margin in it anymore. Back when I probably first tracked it, I was possibly seeing this kind of thing, where if I just expanded that to look at an entire year, and it used to sell for like $109, pop back down to $34, then back up, and then this isn't even Christmas time. This is February 2015. No, this is this year, 2016. It went up to $132 a unit, and when Amazon's in stock, it went down to $34.99. So this one I was tracking for these kind of graphs. Then it looked like Amazon was in stock for a while, so some people probably dumped a bit of stock there. And then the same thing happened again. So history repeats, and it went back up to this $74.99 at some point. What's happening here still? And I can look at these graphs all day long. I don't want to make a video that's so long and so boring that people tune out. But what's happening here now is actually the same kind of thing, and plus it's Q4. So there's still heaps of sales for this toy. It's got a 46,000 rank, I can see, and it is popping down in and out. Amazon's occasionally getting stock of this for $34.99. Now the price at the moment is $60. But I want to have a look at this item and see what the number of sellers is doing. So the new offer count here is 15. It's 15 people selling this right now. It got down to... It did get up pretty high for a while. A lot of them have sold out. I want to now check and see what everybody's currently priced at. If everybody was priced at around the, let me have a look in here, and we're going to go new 15 from $59.99. So, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 people in the way of these nicer prices, these $75 prices. Now, it is selling at a rate of about, I guess, probably 1 or 2 a day at the moment. Now this is kind of where I wish I had my the how many tool installed, because I'd be able to quickly have a look and see who's in stock of which item. And I'm going to do it the slow way and have a look and see. I'm going to add all of these guys to my cart one by one, and you should really get like the extension for this if you're going to be doing flips. It's called How Many. It's a Mark Crawford tool. Now I'm not too worried about this guy here. He's $59.99. He's just launched, but he's also an MF seller, so he's got an extra $6.49 postage. So I'm not too worried about this guy at this point, but these 3 here in particular, I want to have a look. So I'm going to dump out my watch your mouth guy before, and we'll have a look. This guy has got one of these available. Bits and bobs is not going to make much difference. Aha. So one of the problems that we're going to have here is we've got this $59.99 seller who has 629 of these available. Now at a rate of about 1 to 2 a day, it's still going to take a very long time while this guy's in the way. So in this instance, even though these guys here probably only have a couple in stock, this guy's got 1. This guy's only got 1. So this fella here, who we certainly can't contact him. That's totally against terms of service or anything like that. We just have to absorb the details that we're seeing here, and I might keep tracking this for when Amazon goes into stock. And every time Amazon does go into stock, I might pop back in here and just see what his current rate is. So maybe I've got a spreadsheet now, and maybe I've written down for that particular product, there's one guy, he's got 600 of them, he might have got a bulk deal from a wholesaler, he may not be a continual replenisher, he may just have had a one-off big bulk batch. So keep an eye on this, because this particular product may come back into play later. So not a write-off, just another one to examine later. So how did I find these graphs? Because I can talk about looking at these graphs all day long, and some of these, I love these really big mountains dipping down to these tiny little infrequent troughs in the graph. Okay. Now there's a few things that you can do on here. You can actually go in a bit closer on this view data page and have a look at the graph more recently. It's set for up to 365 days by default. You can have a look, say, at the last 31 days. So I can tell from this graph here, for instance, that Amazon's been in stock since October the 28th. One of those things, again, where you might want to check and see just how many they've got in stock, if they're going to run out soon, or if they're in it for the long haul now. It's not unexpected that Amazon's seen Pokemon is a current craze and they've decided to stock up on a particular product. So, you know, all of these factors come into play. But these kind of graphs, where you've got these big peaks and these low valleys, and these infrequent low valleys, are really attractive to us, because it's going to be the kind of graphs that we want to look at and potentially track the hardest. So on this Amazon Flips page, let's have a look at ways that we can do it. So the most basic way is to pick like a URL from Amazon, and in this case, this particular URL I'm looking at here is in this case it's some kids drawing supplies, but this is an example of a URL that you can use. Now there's plenty of options here. You've got movers and shakers, you've got best sellers, you've got this is the best sellers category here. You've got movers and shakers. We also stipulate that it'll work for shoes. I want to say one thing about shoes before I continue this search. If you're doing shoes, click this button here, explore variations. Now what that'll do is it'll take longer for every ASIN, but what it'll do is it'll analyze every size and every color before moving on to the next product. So it'll go your black size 8, your black size 9, your black size 10, then I'll start at the beginning again, your khaki size 3, your khaki size 4. And it'll go through every single one, and it'll look for those potential flips inside that. Once you've found a good flip there with variations, you should of course then check it in the product variation tool to see if maybe it's actually a product that's going to be more likely to sell on Amazon or sit stagnant once you send it in. So make sure you use all the tools in a flow that suits your methods. So looking for the kind of graphs that we just saw then, I'll click something easy like that first link there, the crayons, and we'll just go, just put a page in there. And earlier I set a really simple version of a for tracking filter. Now probably you want to spend a bit more time on this. I just did a very quick one. So for tracking filter I put here was like, let's have a look at the average price Amazon sells it for in the last 90 days. Now what do I mean by that? Okay, I'll show you. So if I'm having a look at just this Amazon price, just the Amazon price in the last 90 days, it is consistently $14.99. $14.99, $14.99. So if I'm having a look at the average Amazon price over the last 90 days, it's going to be $14.99, because it's not taking into account any of these new prices. It's not taking into account anything other than what Amazon normally sells it for, and in this case I put in the last 90 days. You can put 63 days there if you like, you can put 42 days, you can put whatever you like to have a look at Amazon to see what it sells for on average. We recently introduced this new feature, which is particularly good for seasonal trends, where you might want to have a look what Amazon sells it for in a particular date period. Now the Amazon sale price actually doesn't fluctuate too much. Sometimes they get wise to a bit of a spike in a trend and then you'll see a few dollar increase, but they normally respect the list price pretty religiously. To a point that I'd even suggest that when they do increase in price a little bit, it's possibly the manufacturer increasing their list price first, setting the market for Amazon. They will, however, lower their prices fairly ruthlessly depending on whether or not you're competing with them and how you're competing with them. Hence why some people like to avoid competing against Amazon in the buy box. I personally don't have a problem with it. I just set my margins with them not aggressively lower, just competitively lower. So anyway, not to digress, we'll go through the rest of these filters here. Now what is the average new sale price? The average new sale price I'm interested in, but what I actually like more is the average new sale price when Amazon is not in stock. So let's have a look at that. We do need both, because depending on how you're particularly working the software, you may prefer to see an average of the entire price. So for instance, an average of the new price for the last 14 days is going to take into account both Amazon's price and this new price. So let's say this is $25.99 here for 7 of the days, and this is $14.99 here for 7 of the days. The average of those two may be around about the $19 mark, and it'll tell you that that is the average. However, the next one here, the average new sale price when Amazon is out of stock, it's going to say, look, on average, when Amazon is not holding the buy box or not in stock, when Amazon is not in stock, you're looking at $24.99 in the last 14 days. Okay, so this is information I can work with. Now, we are enhancing and at some point going to be adding in an extra little bit of detail which looks for what the price is to include shipping. So, often the $24.99 will be maybe an FBA seller, for instance, and it's free shipping anyway, and so this is fairly accurate. You do get instances, and I'll open in a new tab. You do get instances where the $24.99 seller, see, this guy is free shipping, but let's say for instance he wasn't here and the guy holding the buy box was this guy here. Now Keeper's going to show this as $19.99, but in reality it's still pretty close to $24, or $24.68. So there is that kind of factor to take into account. Sometimes what I will do based on that, and hopefully we get an upgrade to the system soon to accommodate when that is the case, what I would do is, if the gap is not, the gap might be something I don't normally look at, $14.99 to $25.99, that might not be something I look at, but I will set my margins down here when I decide what to show at something small, like if it's 1.7 times as much. Okay, 1.7 times as much is not normally going to be a decent flip unless the prices are quite high. However, when you take into account that in some cases there's shipping involved as well, and the shipping might be something monstrous like $11.99 for this particular buy box person, then it might be in reality $14.99 versus $37, and in that case you want to ship your stuff in and list it at $37, or if you're competing against an MF seller, maybe add an extra $1 or so. Okay, so there's a lot to think about there. I'll go back to the top of the graph where we were. So calculating the average new sale price when Amazon is out of stock. Then we've got the lowest Amazon sale price. So this is going to be, the lowest point here is $14.99. I'll see if I can find another product to show you. Having a look at these graphs and looking for that I didn't like that graph for some reason at first. So just the lowest point down there, saying $10.99 on that. Yeah, that's an interesting item. Sorry, I get distracted, but that's normally $10.99. Amazon's very rarely in stock. It's Q4. When it is out of stock, it has been known to go for some stupid pricing like $217. Selling a lot more frequently in that $40 bracket. It's currently creeping back up as offer count decreases due to Q4. It's already back up to $30. I mean, I'm detecting a bit of a trend there that if Amazon comes back into stock, and it looks like they even just did on November the 4th, and so they're likely to do that, I would probably get some of these transformers for $10 each, and ship them in, and get a little bit of make a little bit of a Q4 prediction that's going to be some decent money. But anyway, the lowest Amazon sale price is going to be $10.99 there, and the lowest new sale price is going to be whichever. This, if I just show you, if I just remove Amazon and everybody from the equation here, I can see that the lowest new sale price was $10.99. Sometimes you'll get an anomaly like a very low price, and that's important data to know too. My favorite two pieces of data here are, and the ones that I work with more than anything else are, calculate the average Amazon sale price, so what is Amazon generally priced at, and calculate the average new sale price when Amazon is out of stock during a much more recent period, particularly, because really what's happening in the graph in these most recent days here, it's more important than what's happening here. If I took an average of 90 days or 120 days, for instance, the average is going to be biased by this big graph here. It's going to take into account all these $200 prices, and it's going to bias this average most recent few days. You can even make that tighter and go like during the last 7 days when Amazon is out of stock. Okay? The reason I normally make that a little longer is Amazon sometimes in stock maybe for the last few days, so you may not want to keep that too low, but I think 7 days is probably fine. So yeah, you could maybe do 90 days up there and 7 days on there and get a really tasty set of graphs. Now this remove ranks thing, it still kind of needs an upgrade. So category by category, you'll set that for what works for you. I do have an upgrade coming probably later this year or early 2017, where you'll just be able to say, just get the top 3% ranks in every single category. It's going to be nice and easy that way. And I'm sure many people will use that and just say, I'm just happy to look at the top 3% or top 2%. We can even set it for 2%. For every single category. So when it sees toys and games, it'll do the calculation and it'll only feed you a result if it's in that top 2%. So that's coming. Working on that. Remove products with a certain number of sellers. I don't fuss too much with that. I'm happy to compete with people. Remove products where the average new sale price is less than $15. Okay, so that's kind of going to have a look at the average new selling price. And if it is, less than, in this case, $15, we don't want to look at it. You probably want to, take that a little higher. Maybe take that up to sort of $20 for flips, $25 for flips. Every time you earn a couple of dollars is fine, but it's certainly not as nice as earning, $20, $30 every time you do a flip. And it makes it worth your while to ship something to yourself, package it up, send it back in. I use a prep house myself, personally. Now this for the particular kind of graph that I'm talking about with these little low spikes and stuff, what I really want to know is I don't want Amazon in stock very much. I want them periodically in stock for a tiny pocket of time. 40% is probably too loose. I like to keep my graphs a little loose though, so that I can then go through and eliminate some from my results, because sometimes there is still a really good result in amongst the looser filters, and if you tighten it up too much, you'll miss some out. My favorite, obviously, is going to be when Amazon is in stock just for like these heartbeats, a couple of hours, and then the price shoots back up. They just can't stay in stock when they've got the products. However, this particular graph has shown up because I said, let me know if Amazon has been in stock 40% or less in the last 60 days. Now this is probably about, let me have a look at 60 days worth here. What are we currently looking at? We're looking at 3 months worth there, so 60 days is what, about here. So from there to there, this fulfills the criteria. It's less than 40%. So, unfortunately, a big chunk of that 40% is recently, and I can see that they're kind of staying in stock for now, without me drilling into it a bit further to have a look, whether or not they're about to run out of stock again. But, yeah, it's definitely a factor of my looser filters that this particular graph has appeared. If I'd set that maybe to 25% or maybe 20%, that graph probably wouldn't have appeared. So it's going to look at the entire period and count the number of moments this is in, do a mathematical sum and tell you whether or not it's been in for that percentage number of time or less based on this filter. And so you can see here that I'm looking at maybe the last 60 days. Once again, you can play with this. You can maybe bring that down to 30 days if you want and say, only look at this if Amazon has been in stock, say 25% in the last, I like 60 days, but yeah, so that's up to you. Now, down here we decide what to show. So the first one is show me if the average new sale price when Amazon is out of stock is at least, and I put here 1.7 times the average Amazon sale price. Now this kind of ties in like this. It's everything I just sort of told you. We're looking at the average Amazon sale price. We're looking at the average new sale price when Amazon is out of stock. We're including this filter. Only analyze if Amazon has been in stock a certain number of time. And then we're saying, now show me these graphs if the average new sale price when Amazon is out of stock is at least, double pretty much when Amazon is in stock and what their price is. So if it's normally $10 by Amazon, and if the new sale price is showing up at say $20 consistently on average when Amazon is out of stock, it'll trigger a graph, and that graph will appear in your view data page, and then that'll warrant further investigation on Keeper as to whether or not you should track that using the tools that they provide, so that you can get alerted to when a good time to ship a product to you using a non-Prime account to then send back in with statistical foreshadowing from past performances as to whether or not that is going to be a profitable item for you. So that was a mouthful and a half, but that is the bare bones behind this first filter. Now the second one here is a bit simpler. It is simply show me if that average new sale price or the average Amazon sale price is at least a certain number of times the lowest Amazon sale price. Okay, so what that means is if this is actually my least used filter. I often have it unticked even. Sorry about that. So this is my least used filter. This is basically like if it looks like there's an anomaly where sometimes an MF seller comes along and appears at the lowest Amazon sale price. So yeah, if it looks like, sorry, not an MF seller, if it looks like Amazon occasionally drops their prices dramatically to $10 and then back up to $50, then we're going to be able to detect those items so that we know to track them. Okay, it's not a feature to overlook. It is basically what immediate buyers are looking for, but in a trackable format. So let's say there is a shoe that's $50 all the time, and then it pops down to $10, and then it comes back up, and it happens once in a while. For various reasons, whether maybe Amazon's price matching another store or whatnot. We want to know whether or not we can set, like those Keen shoes I told you about before. I set a tracking in Keeper so that if by some chance that shoe went down to that $11 mark again, I'd be onto it. because this is what this particular setting will do. Now, if you're using this particular filter, and I guess this is kind of what wasn't explained very well when I set this page up, I wouldn't use this filter here. So I would basically just leave this blank, right? Because if we're only looking at graphs where Amazon is in stock for a tiny period of time, then that's really one kind of search. But if I want to see items, Amazon might be in stock all the time, but occasionally drop their price. So if I want to look at those to track those, I might do the exact same search as before, but leave this box empty, and use this filter here. So we're going to show now if the average price that we see, most of the time, is at least a certain number of times the lowest Amazon sale price. So let's say we're going to look for stuff that's at least 2 times, or 2.5 times the average regular price. Okay, so I'll untick this one here. We won't use that one for now. So so if the average new sale price, which is worked out here, or the average Amazon sale price, which is worked out here, and in this case we want to mix things up a bit. We want to look at the average new sale price for maybe a longer period in this particular type of search. If the average new sale price or average Amazon sale price... Hey babe, I'm just in the middle of a webinar. Is it important? Okay, bye. Sorry, that was the missus. So if the average new sale price or average Amazon sale price is at least 2.5 times these dramatic drops. Now, we want to look at lowest Amazon sales price in the last 90 days, or maybe 150 days, or whatever. You want to have a look at the history of Amazon to look for when these prices drop way down. Okay, so that's that kind of search. Like I said, my favorite type of search is this top one. These searches here are still very valid to track, and then you would set that up in Keeper to say, okay, just tell me when those Keen shoes are $15 again. Okay, I can see historically from this filter that they do spike down once in a while, right? I know it won't happen today, it might not happen for 2 months, but on the day that it happens, I want to be told that that shoe is now $12, because I'm going to race to my computer and providing everything looks good, I'm going to buy a bundle of them, maybe all of them. Next filter. This is what people are interested in if they are doing live searches and they are looking right now. So both these ones here, you don't need to do those live searches. You can just set those up for using the public Keeper tokens and do a search. There's a variety of ways to do searches. If you have the Storefront Stalker tool, which you can easily find on the product search page, just go down to this link here. If you buy that Storefront Stalker link, then insert the invoice number into the settings page, it'll unlock this scan best sellers feature, and on this page you can just go like search toys and games, action figures, etc., and you can just run a scan like that. So that'll look at 2,400 items, or if you just do a top level, it'll look at 9,600, soon to be 19,000. We're going to expand on that. So that is one way of doing it. You can use a URL there for multiple pages. If you have your own Keeper tokens, you can use bulk categories. And if you don't have your own Keeper tokens, but you can put your hand on a list of UPCs or ASINs. Also, you can grab ASINs from Storefront Stalker, so another way to do that. You can insert a list of ASINs there, and you can this is unlocked for everybody as well. No, bring your own Keeper tokens. And so this is one of those instances where this last filter here, you're looking for that live search, and therefore you do want to bring your own Keeper token. Now to get that, you've got to go to Keeper, You need to sign up for an account, which you will be doing anyway if you're tracking products, and then you've got to go to their page and sign up for a Keeper package. Now, I won't do that on my Keeper tool right now, because if I do that live, you'll end up seeing the public Keeper key, and we don't want to share that public Keeper key because anybody can then use it. So basically how this works is this. Tell me if the price right this very second, so this current price filter, this doesn't need any details to be put in up there, because basically all it is tell me if the current price right now, what's the buy box? Okay. Now the current price, if you have cache on, will depend on cache, right? And you still can run this filter with the 3-day cache on, and you may well be searching a category which is uncached and therefore getting live data anyway. And that particularly on the less common categories, you will find that quite a bit. But current price will depend on cache, and if you really 100% want to guarantee live cache, and it will be a slower search uncached, and you bought your own Keeper tokens, and usually the what's called the 20 tokens per minute plan is a good plan to go on with Keeper. We do scan faster than 20 products per minute, so sometimes your Keeper tokens will get exhausted, but if you leave them for a while, they build up as well. So it's a bit of an unusual system. The tokens kind of build up, and then up to a certain point, if you're using them faster than they're building up, it will slowly decrease, and it will eventually hit 0. And at that point, you'll see messages like Keeper rejected. You can fix that 2 ways. You can either wait a little bit between your next search, or you can get more than 20 tokens to try and keep up with our software, because we're getting faster all the time, and we're more like 30-ish or more per minute now. So a good starting package is, I think it's a €39 a month, 20 Keeper tokens per minute type package. And if you just don't use it for an hour, it'll build up to 1,200 tokens, and that'll get you quite a few searches before that hits 0, because they're building as you're using them. Okay, so show if the current price is 60% of the average new sale price or average Amazon sale price. The average new sale price will be as you set here, or average. So you might say the average Amazon sale price in the last 90 days is normally, say, $50. The average new sale price in the last 90 days maybe $50, or you may even want. You can actually tie this one in a little bit with. There is a way you can actually get graphs for all 3 of these at once with like that sweet spot of settings. However, this first one here is better to be used solo with this particular filter here. Only analyze if Amazon has been in stock a certain number or less in the last number of days, because if you don't have something in here, then you won't see the kind of graphs that you want to see. So ideally, this particular filter will be run for one type of scan, and you'll do these sort of scans separately. So show if the current price is 60% of the average new sale price or lower. So I'll make that a bit simpler. We'll go 50%. So the current price right now is $10, but it's normally $20. Okay, that's what this means, 50%. So you might want to make that a little more aggressive. Again, I like to keep things a bit loose. I'm hoping to see things less than 50%. I might be looking at, say, that amazing product might be 40% less than, like those Keeper shoes, for instance. What are they, $54.95, and then they were down to $11.37 or something. That was like about a 70% drop. So in that case, I would be looking at show if the current price is 30% or lower. Now, the lower that you put that, the less items that you're going to see. And I would keep it a little higher, because keep in mind again the situation where when we are taking into account the MF seller, let's say it's not Amazon we're talking about, but let's say the graphs that it looks for in these results are not the Amazon graphs, but they're these MF sellers, then there may be shipping into account too, so it could be, 35. You often have to drill in further. There's only so much tactical arbitrage can do, and we'll get a really good guide and some excellent graphs in front of you here. Like some graphs are no-brainers. They're just going to flip well. Other graphs are not so clear and take further analysis. I'm sure if I go to my tracking page, tracking overview page, which is actually tracking overview page is here. Sorry, track bell up the top there. I'm sure that there will be one from the days that I used to track more often. That still is a great one to track. Like this one here. Anybody who wants these, grab them, track them. Anybody who takes the time to watch this, grab them, track them. Because I am 16 hours a day tactical arbitrage a lot of the time. I feel bad. I just blew my wife off on the phone. She's going to kill me for it later, but I think she understands. So this one, Amazon was in stock on August the 30th for $10.99. Had I been on the pulse on the day, I would have grabbed that. Hopefully it wasn't one of those ones which just let me buy one of the item, or hopefully I had something else to put in the shopping cart to make up to that price point, because I can't prime ship it to myself, but I can business ship it to myself. And I'm going to check in another window about the business shipping again later, and leave a comment in Facebook a bit more about whether it is $49 or $45 that you have to put in the cart. But anyway, this particular item, Disney Toy Story, The Time Forgot Battlesaurus Trixie figure, $10.99 that day, selling over and over and over again for $30. It is only got 3 people selling it. So you often think to yourself, well, what if everybody's tracking that? Well, if everybody was tracking that and onto this, then there would probably be a lot more than, well, as of today, 5 sellers. And unless this item is restricted, for instance, I can't see a good reason why. And it's not even $27.99. Here's my example. This guy is $27.99 plus $5 more shipping, so that's $32.98. So I won't get into having a look in my account to see whether that's a restricted item for me or not. But if I could have got some of these at $10.99 and then listed that at $34.95 FBA, or maybe $35 is a nice price point, because prime sellers, they got to meet that $35 mark, I'm pretty sure, and it's changed, I think. Then that is going to be a great item to make $25 profit on, or maybe $15-20 after fees. So for the sake of the quick, I'm going to scroll down these. $18.99 selling for $41. Transformers Generations Combiner Wars, $13 selling for $38.99. This one sold in October 1st, $12.99. It is selling for $34.99. There's the sales rank. Bang, 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 bang. If I could have got these, I would have got these. Literally, you can run a business doing nothing but flips. Honestly, if you understand this, you understand the risks involved with Amazon possibly one day coming into stock and being in stock for such a long time. You track enough products. This page of products here, which once I've analysed it, may give me 2 or 3 more items to track. It was a cached scan and took minutes. It literally took minutes. I used Storefront Stalker. I set something simple like toys and games. That may even have been the category I just selected, action figures, playsets, and I just scanned it. I didn't even walk away from the computer because it was cached. It was quick, and I thought I probably did it a few minutes before the webinar actually, which didn't work out yesterday. But if I'd set, say, 3 items to track from that, 2 items from another scan, 8 items from another scan, another item from another scan, and I just keep building it up, eventually, right, my phone's going to give me a tweet to say, you know, it might have taken 3 weeks for this item to suddenly come into stock at this price with these kind of margins, right? It might have taken some time for that to suddenly come into stock, but if I've got 100 items tracked, you know, I'm getting a tweet, 2 tweets, sometimes several tweets a day. It does work like that. Sometimes you get a bunch of tweets in one day, and the reason is that there's been some kind of a manufacturer brand decrease in price, but that might be the brand, you know, so maybe a shipment arrived at Amazon, for instance, and so Amazon's suddenly in stock of a few of each item, and then they're out of stock. So that can happen too, and that can be good when you want to bundle a couple in together to make that price point to ship to you. This one here obviously is no longer a worthwhile one, and it's really cool. I can just delete that. I mean, it's normally $21.99. It's not really going higher than $23.09. I'll pop into here and see how many sellers we've got. Yeah, these days we've got 90 sellers. I don't really see a good reason to keep it in my tracking. Amazon seems to have been in stock a little more these days. They do go out, you know, the third-party sellers are selling higher than Amazon. It is Q4, and I'm a bit of a hoarder, so based on that I might keep it in there. But when my alert goes off, I'd probably do a quick check of those basic details and then just, you know, head back down to watch, you know, some more Mr. Robot or something, or The Walking Dead, or whatever I'm watching this week, Westworld, and just walk away from that one, because it's no good today. It might be good to continue to track until the next tweet comes in and keep monitoring it, but eventually it could go dead. This one here, the Pokemon Clip and Carry Pokeball, it is selling, yeah, not so good anymore. It's selling though, yeah, once a week. Okay, do I want to track this when it's in stock? Let's have a look. When it hasn't been in stock for a really long time, I'm going to have to hide some of these to see things a bit more clearly. Okay, it was in stock May the 17th for $11.99. Amazon's been out of stock in general, probably since the Pokemon craze started. Yeah, I would be happy if Amazon told me they were in stock of this for $11.99. I would want to look and see how many Amazon had on the shelf when they did that, because they're probably going to go hard on stocking up on Amazon on this. Missing piece of the puzzle, I guess, is being able to easily check and see how many your competitors have in stock. So for now, I would suggest using the How Many tool. At some point, I do expect Tactical Arbitrage to have a solution for that, and we are in talks at the moment in relation to that. But being Q4, our development has hit a point where we are just managing the stuff we have and adding some things, but there is a list of things that is being added, which is really going to make things even more exciting in 2017. It's going to be a very different beast then. So yeah, I would track this. I mean, the price is going, it's selling slowly, but you know, it'd probably sell really quick if someone dropped the price here to maybe $35 or something. If I could get a couple on the shelf, I might test the market at a slightly lower price point. I'm definitely seeing more spikes at $35, and you've got to keep analyzing the graph like this, you know. This is I can see here on the graph here, without even going into it, it's currently selling about $60 when it's in stock. It's selling quite a bit, but my desired Amazon price is I want it under $33, okay? And I would have set that for a reason, and I would have set that based on Amazon once upon a time being in stock for $32.99. But there was better days for this flip. Back here when it was $125 when it was out of stock. You know, with Q4, still worth a look. Got to check those margins. DreamWorks Dragon here. This is one of those instances where I'm actually pretty sure there's a bunch of these on the shelf at my local Big W store in Australia. So I might go down and buy those for 15 Australian dollars, which is $10 US, and then send in a box of these and get this $48 price. So I need to check that. I was in a Target, actually. I think we got Target here too. I was in Target the other day in Australia. I'm pretty darn sure I saw DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon toys. So I don't know if this particular one's on the shelf or not, but if it is, that's happy days, because I recently did this with a bunch of Funko toys. I wasn't restricted on those, luckily. I went to all of my local, what's called EB Games, which is the equivalent of your GameStop. And I bought a bunch of Funko toys that were on special from $8 to $15 Australian. And that was like $6 US to $12 US. And these were like, I used Tactical Arbitrage actually, and I specifically did an Australia to US search of these stores, the categories that were on special for these Funko toys, and then I went and RA'd them. I drove around and picked them up from the store, and because it was the nature of this particular store that you had to pick it up from the actual store. I drove around and I got maybe 20 of these and sent them in because the opportunity was there to do that. But there's just, see this one here, like, Amazon's been in stock for months, okay? Possibly this flip is dead and gone. We've got a new Star Wars movie coming out at the end of the year, so all these things you've got to consider, and based on that I might look into it further before just outright deleting it. But if I wanted to delete it, I just got to click that button and it's gone. It gives you a couple of seconds to decide if you made a mistake, and then it disappears. Now our friend Hawkeye here, he's been a staple for me. Somebody else might want to jump on that. He seems to have a following. He sells out quite a lot. He's Amazon's even increased their price. This is an instance where Amazon was selling this for $10.99, and now they sell it for $18.58 when they're in stock. Okay, but it's consistently selling at this $40 mark. So yeah, you might want to add that to yours and keep an eye out for him. Who else have we got here? This guy here is a Funko toy. $9 when it's in stock, but Funko toys with Amazon are funny. They don't go back in stock very often. It looks like, did he go back in stock there? When they hit zero stock for Funko toys, I haven't had a lot of experience with them going back in stock. You may be able to tell me otherwise. But if you can find him on the shelf somewhere, he's worth $99 right now. So, I mean, collectors pay for their toys, you know. Collectors love their toys, and if they're missing something from their collection, even though it's a random thing like the Prince John Robin Hood Disney action figure Funko toy, if they've got every other one but this guy, they'll pay for it. I had an Egon Spengler Ghostbusters I sent in recently. I picked it up for $8 in Australia, and yeah, that sold for like $75 US, which was, yeah, it's decent. Paid for some beer. This guy here, I'm seeing that the new price is actually lower in general than the Amazon price. I'm going to remove that. That probably had a spike around The Force Awakens. So this is the basic idea of Amazon flips. There'll be a version 2.0 coming out. There's a little bit more information we can put on this page related to the current price, the FBA calculated return price, and more data is always more helpful in helping you choose whether to do an Amazon flip. So I am working on this all the time. Sometimes I get distracted on a new page, like reverse search for a while or the library search for a while, and then I circle back and go, now let's upgrade Amazon flips for a while. I do have some notes on Amazon flips. For instance, we're going to be adding in the ability to search current keeper deals on the Amazon flips page. That's half complete. So that's probably coming either later this year or early 2017. I suggest you use these saved filters. Make your own filters, one for tracking, one for drops now. And I didn't really show you a keeper graph there. I'll see if I can find that that Keen shoe. See if I can find that one instance before we sign off was this Seacamp sandal here. Okay, and it was the blue one. This is a long time ago, but you never forget a good deal, do you? And we'll go on into that, and we'll have a look at how accurate I was with my $11.37. Well, no, it was the size 2. I think that actually multiple sizes did go down back then. I would like to see the size 2. Don't worry, I'm wrapping up now. I do want to just find that deal though. I've lost the page. Typical. Okay. Well, I won't make a big thing of it, but if I look at the complete history there, it doesn't look like the size 2s had it. No, the size 4s had it. It was little kid size. It was the size 2s. It looks like the variation for size 2s is sold out actually. Because that would be a toddler size, and I can't see anything below 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's in my shoe keeper account, and yeah, I do organize my keeper accounts in a way so that I can have my tracking, one for variation products and one for others. Now you can also import wish lists into your tracking. So if you've got a particular bunch of products that you want to that you think are suitable to track, you can actually make a wish list in Amazon and import that too. So that's also another cool way to get items in there to track. But for now, I think just focus on this Amazon Flips page. View your flips, pop on in, check them more closely. All you gotta do is click on the graph, see whether or not it's something that you're interested in tracking. If it's not, you can delete it easy enough from there. And then move on to the next one. Okay, that'll do for Keeper Flips. So I hope you got something out of it. Sorry that yesterday's webinar didn't work out. I hope I gave enough information in this for you to start your Amazon flipping ventures. And hit me up on Facebook with some comments. Cheers. Bye.